the theme song.
We are
I sang it
live.
last time. I sang it last time we did an Enterprise episode.
Yeah, but they play it every time you watch an Enterprise episode. So
That is true. But you could skip it if you were so inclined. But I never
So,
do.
hello everyone, and welcome to the Unready room. We are talking tonight about the Enterprise episode Carbon Creek, second episode of season 2. I have to admit, okay, before we get started, of the 4 options, they were all excellent episodes, every single one of them. I'm a little bit surprised this one got picked. And I'm thrilled that it got picked. I'm really happy to be talking about this, but I'm curious about you two. Did you guys have a horse in this race? Did you think Carbon Creek was the one that would get picked?
I honestly had no thoughts whatsoever. I thought, well, we'll just see what everybody likes. I would have been happy with any of them. So I wasn't going to be disappointed no matter what happened. Not that I would ever be disappointed to be watching Trek. So that's not a disappointment to me. But I was a bit surprised that people were so willing to go back to Enterprise after only doing it a couple of weeks ago. That warms my heart because I'm a huge Enterprise fan. So I have no problems with that.
I just remember last week we were like, oh, these 4 are really good ones. I have no idea what it's going to be. So I guess I wasn't really that surprised if it was Carbon Creek because I just felt like it could go any of the 4 ways. But I'm trying to remember what were the other 3?
Okay, so the choices were Bada Bing Bada Bang from Deep Space Nine, Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country, Carbon Creek, and Damage, both from Enterprise. Yes. Those last 2. So,
which is crazy because Damage is also when it has moments that make me cry, and this one has moments that make me cry, but for a different reason.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, this is probably just bias on my part, but I honestly thought it was going to be either the Deep Space Nine episode or the Undiscovered Country. Yeah, and that's not bias as in a dislike of Enterprise. That's a bias as to what my perception of what everybody else thinks about Enterprise. Which it's very nice to be surprised, though. That was excellent. I'm really happy to be talking about this one.
I can say that I voted for Damages because it was the one I hadn't. It's been a while since I've seen that one. The others I've seen more recently, so I was like going with one I haven't seen in a while.
Nice,
and that's fair.
Is it Damage or Damages? I can't remember.
It's Damage.
Okay,
just Damage.
Okay.
Yeah. So this one I have seen fairly recently before this as well. My fiance and I were watching all of Enterprise, and we actually just finished yesterday or the day before yesterday. So we got to finish with the Demons and Terra Prime, and then these are the voyages. But anyway, the less said about that, the better.
Yeah.
Man, Demons and Terra Prime are great, though.
Wow. So good.
I've been wanting to watch those again sometime soon because I've been thinking about those for a while. I don't know why, but I had been thinking about it. I'm like, I need to watch this again sometime soon.
Yeah. I don't know how that would relate to anything.
I know. I don't know where it came up, but I've been thinking about it. But now, Dan, what are you going to watch? Stargate Atlantis?
Yeah, we're still right in the middle of SG-1 and Atlantis, alternating back and forth. So really enjoying that. Nice. I don't know. I've got Quantum Leap Blu-rays on my shelf too that might need to get cracked open at some point. Kind of, more Scott Bakula, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen many of those. I didn't watch that series regularly.
They're good. They're a little hit and miss. There's some very 80s television tropes in it that bug me, but it's generally a very good series. I really, really enjoy it. Yeah. Oh boy. I really wanted Archer to say "oh boy" at some point in Enterprise, and it just never happened. But anyway.
I'm suddenly hearing that female voice in his head, theorizing that someone could time travel within their own lifetime. Dr. Sam Beckett stepped into the quantum accelerator and vanished.
Excellent.
How do I still know that after like 30 years?
Oh, it imprints itself on the brain. Absolutely. But we are not here to talk about Quantum Leap, as much fun as that would be. We are talking Carbon Creek, from Enterprise. So for those of you who might need a quick refresher, Carbon Creek is the episode where they're celebrating T'Pol's 1 year anniversary of being part of the crew. And in celebration, they have a few drinks and T'Pol tells a story. And that story is of an ancestor of hers who participated in first contact with humanity, between humanity and Vulcans, in the 1950s, which of course raises some eyebrows. And she goes on to tell the story of the Vulcan ship that crashed near a small mining town and the 3 Vulcans who kind of had to blend in and stay there for a few months until they were rescued. And especially the story of one particular Vulcan, Mistral, who ended up staying behind supposedly for many, many years after that. So a really fun story. I'm just going to say this right off the top. One of my favorite episodes from that era of Enterprise. Just a really fun story. And some, an interesting thing to do with characters who usually don't, usually they're in serious situations, but in this, they're I think getting a little drunk in telling this story. And in fact, if you watch one of the outtakes, as a joke, they play it really, really drunk. Like Jolene Blalock, Connor Trenier, and Scott Bakula all play it like they're totally hammered, this one particular scene. But so I think the implication is they're getting a little tipsy on the wine and the story is outlandish, or maybe not. I don't know.
I didn't know about that cut scene or that blooper or whatever outtake, or maybe it could be a Star Trek intake. We can talk about that some other time. But I when I was watching this, I kept thinking, can T'Pol get drunk as a Vulcan off that wine, or she would the other two be a little tipsy and she's just like, it's not affecting me. I'm Vulcan.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. What do we know about Vulcan physiology and alcohol?
I don't know.
Exactly.
Have we seen a drunk Vulcan ever? I mean, we're overdue if we haven't.
Can't recall. Yeah, I don't think we have.
Tuvok, maybe? Was he ever walking down the corridor? I don't know.
Yeah, this comment here, Archer was clearly trying to ply T'Pol with wine to get her to open up. There are a couple little things where, he pours more wine and T'Pol just kind of looks at the glass and then looks at him like...
That's when I thought, that's when I was wondering, wait, can Vulcans get drunk? I remember that's when I thought it was at that moment. Yeah.
Can she, or is she just using it as an excuse to open up a little bit and, fit in with the humans a little bit, maybe?
Maybe.
I think that she was doing that, and I also think she knew that they were not going to believe her story. And so she was kind of playing with them at the same time that she was opening up and telling something of a personal story, because it was her great-grandmother. Yeah. Her mother's mother's mother. So great-grandmother. And it's just entirely through the whole thing, I'm just staring at Jolene and going, you are a genius. You're just a genius.
That's the thing. And that's something I don't think I appreciated the first time I saw this episode way back when, and really notice on rewatching is she plays, like you said, her great-great-grandmother, Tamir, who is not T'Pol. And I think there's a very definite difference in her portrayal of those two characters that, like I said, I think I missed the first time around just because, I don't know, I wasn't paying attention or whatever. But yeah, the last few times I've watched it, I really see that difference in her portrayals. And I think it's brilliant.
Yes, agree.
Yeah, it's like the T'Pol family line is similar to the Dr. Soong family line. They always look like...
and Janeway.
Except we've seen T'Pol's mother, and T'Pol and her mother are not that similar in appearance.
That's true.
That's true. Weird. Yeah. That's really strange.
Yeah, how odd.
Maybe it just skips a generation here and there.
It might.
Yeah, that must be it. Yeah.
Yeah. I see in the chat, like Geek Filter, Aaron says that Vulcans because of chocolate. It's like when they eat chocolate, it's like getting drunk for them. So too bad Archer
Good
didn't
to
know that.
Interesting.
Well,
That's
she'd
cool.
never divulged that. That's for sure. Never.
I want to see. Yeah, is there any instance of T'Pol eating chocolate in Enterprise? I don't think so. Having just watched all 4 seasons in the last few months, I don't think there is. But
She wasn't having M&Ms or anything.
No. It
No.
seemed she was very much a vegetarian. You don't ever see her eating meat. So
Right.
a lot of salads.
Yeah.
Just
A
a
lot of
salads.
plomeek broth.
She had a salad in this episode too.
Yeah.
Chef
Absolutely.
prepared it. Riker was in the back preparing her a salad.
Oh. Yeah, just watch that. Okay.
Let's do that next week.
Yeah. So we get the stories kind of told in flashbacks, and we find out the Vulcans are observing Earth's first artificial satellite, Sputnik. And there's something wrong with the ship. They end up crashing, like I said, near this small town. And, eventually hunger drives them into town because they're run out of rations. They can't subsist on, stuff around, and they're not willing to kill a deer. So they go into town to look for food. And as Trip puts it, one of the Vulcans ends up hustling a pool game to get money to buy groceries. So yeah, it almost sounds like the start of a joke, like 2 Vulcans walk into a bar. I don't know.
Well, that's kind of what Trip indicated too.
Exactly.
And this is one of my 2 niggles about this episode. Okay, the second one isn't a niggle; it's a downright criticism. But if they were using a universal translator, that would have been noticeable because their voices wouldn't have matched their mouth movements. So when did they become fluent in English?
You know what? Oh my gosh. I love you, a coal miner's Vulcan, because I wrote that down today. I was like, I want to remember to say, when could they learn to speak English unless they have universal translators? And is that work? Like, because they changed clothes, and I don't know if they still had any devices on them.
Well, even so, we know how universal translators work, and though in the show they portray it for the most part as somebody speaking English, that's not what's actually happening. It's like it was in Star Trek Beyond when she's speaking, and then you hear the universal translator kick in. That would be the case with the Vulcans. So what? Anyway,
well,
just a little bit of a niggle. It doesn't really matter. But.
What definitely happened was, of course, they were observing Earth for we don't know how long in orbit. So they said, in case we crash land in that particular country, we have to learn this language. Now, all of these other countries, we have to learn all of those other hundreds of languages as well, just in case something happens and we crash in one of those countries. So it would have been interesting if they landed and started speaking Russian to somebody and they're like,
yeah.
Is that not where we crashed? Whoops.
Oh dear. Patrick Carlin brings up a great point. Twilight Zone is now Star Trek canon. Yes.
Absolutely. As is I Love Lucy, as of course many people have brought up.
I mean, duh.
Oh, absolutely. And the Three Stooges.
The Three Stooges enter canon in this episode as well. Yeah. I resemble how does he put it exactly? I resemble a character known as a stooge.
Yeah. Named Mo.
A little bit.
Yeah. I want to Photoshop Mo with pointed ears now.
Why didn't you do that before now?
I should have.
You should have had that ready for tonight.
I should have. But I love
not that you have anything else to do, mind you.
No, I don't. But yeah, I love the fact that I Have Lucy was brought up in this because, as we know, Lucille Ball had a lot to do with, of course, I see the chat starting to bring this up now too, but had a lot to do with Star Trek being produced at Desilu and keeping that going. And even then, of course, sold the studio to Paramount. But yeah. So nice little nod to Lucy, because we may not have Star Trek if we didn't have Lucy.
No.
Can I bring up my other problem because it deals with this
Absolutely.
part of the episode, is when they're getting disguises. We did not need to see a silhouette of a naked T'Pol. That was so wrong and made me so angry. I mean, I remembered it had been in there, but when I saw it this time, I'm just like, not today,
there's just like a, you know, like 500-watt stage light behind her so that there's a perfect silhouette that you can make out every little tiny detail.
You really can.
It's superfluous.
I love you, a coal miner's Vulcan, because that was another note I made, but instead that I liked that part.
I mean,
no, I didn't put I liked it, but I did want to mention that, and because I didn't even I don't know, maybe I was sitting close to, I never watched on my computer monitor, so I didn't notice the details before until now.
There is a lot of detail anatomically. And it was just, the only good part about that scene was her coming out with the dress on backwards.
That was a cute moment.
It was really cute. And the look on her face when he says, I believe you have that garment on backwards.
Yeah.
And she just has this stony look like,
you know, okay, this just occurred to me. This is the first time I ever thought about this. When you said about the dress being on backwards, you know, Mork and Mindy started off that way. When Mork lands on Earth, he's wearing his clothes on backwards. Do you think that was a nod to that?
It might have been.
I never thought about it until now.
I never thought about that either.
It's possible, I suppose.
Tamir. So yeah, Jolene Blalock as Tamir. I really like this character. I think she's interesting. Now, of course, one thing that could explain, of course, the use of the actress who looks exactly like T'Pol and all this stuff, and maybe not all of this is exactly as it happened, because this is a story being told by T'Pol. So it might just be the broad strokes. We might have an unreliable narrator. I do think this actually happened in some way, because we get that little, of course, bit at the very end where T'Pol has the handbag that for some reason she brought on Enterprise with her when that seemed like an odd, like, I must pack my uniform. Oh yes. And this, you know,
something to remind me of home. Oh, great grandmother's bag.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe she took it with her though, because it was from Earth.
Could be. I mean, there's many reasons why she might have it. It's a little weird convenient when you start like actually thinking about it. Like, when was the decision made to bring this aboard? That's a little weird.
Well,
but it does tell us that I think this story actually did happen, which is cool.
I think that's what that indicates. So here's a theory to that. What because it was mentioned that T'Pol went to Carbon Creek to visit. Maybe she found the bag there. I mean, I don't know why she would find it all these hundreds of years later, but and then she found it and took it. But then I guess how would she know it was her great grandmother's bag? I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah, that one strains credibility a little bit. I don't know how that would happen.
Unless the minstrel's still alive and he gave it to her.
Ooh.
Think about that.
Yeah.
And that's why she went to Carbon Creek to go see him.
But he didn't stay there.
No. Yeah, he moved on.
He moved on, but he could have always gone back.
Fair enough.
So Mistral is a great character. I think he's really interesting, and one that I always kind of wished would show up again in Star Trek. Now, if you read in particular the novels by Dayton Ward, not Forgotten History, I always mix it up with that one, From History's Shadow, and a couple of sequels to that novel as well, an original series novel, he does show up there kind of mixed in with Gary Seven and Roberta Lincoln and a bunch of those characters. So it plays some great roles in those books too. So I love that character. Yes, I would love a short track of Mistral's adventures on Earth.
Yeah.
I think at this point they need to make about 200 episodes of short treks for all the things that we would love to see.
Agree.
Actually, it would make a good series.
That too. Ooh, Mistral's Adventures on Earth.
Yeah.
How does this quirky Vulcan still fit in with Earth society and not be found out? Tune in next week.
Ooh, I like it. Ridiculous fish out of water stories every week.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But yeah, so Mistral, played by veteran Star Trek actor J. Paul Boehmer. I'm not sure how to pronounce that name exactly correct, but he's been in a bunch of different Star Trek series over the years. He first showed up in The Killing Game in Voyager as one of the German officers in the holodeck program. He showed up as Seven of Nine's child that was created by her nanoprobes mixing with the Doctor's mobile emitter. He played a Cardassian in the Deep Space Nine episode Tacking into the Wind, and another Nazi officer in the Enterprise episodes 0 Hour and Stormfront. So, they have a German actor, so they cast him where they need a German officer. So,
yeah, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze, but I just looked up. He's done something in the Orville too.
Oh, cool! I didn't know that. That's
Gonna
cool.
sneeze. Gonna sneeze. Good. There he goes.
Ooh,
Good one.
so you could hear it.
Gesundheit.
Good one.
Thank you.
I
Speaking
had
of German, Gesundheit.
Yeah.
Bringing it back around.
Yes.
I like this idea. TJ Zamboni Schwartz. It would be like Forrest Gump with Mistral stumbling through history.
Love it. Do it.
That would be great.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
He's trying to stay out of history's way, and there'll be like some big event happening, and like the TV footage of it, and he's like, "Oh," gets out of the screen.
Yeah. or you see him on a park bench, going, "Life's like a box of chocolate," and he's getting drunk on it.
Oh, I like that. Oh, and Patrick says there's also a story of him meeting Zephram Cochrane in the 8th Strange New Worlds anthology. Cool. I didn't know that.
I
Check
didn't know
that out
that
too.
either.
Excellent. Yeah, and then the third Vulcan. Does anybody know his name? What was his name?
Strawn.
Mo. Oh,
S-T.
Yes.
No, it's Strawn. S-T-R-O-N. Strawn.
Strawn. Cool.
Strawn. Where'd they get that name?
Started with an S and a T, and
Right.
what's the rest of it?
Stan. No, that's an Earth name. Steve. Earth name. I got nothing. You guys got anything? How about Strawn? Strawn? Okay, Strawn. We're gonna go with Strawn.
I still like Mo, but okay, Strawn.
Can we have a Vulcan named Steve show up sometime? Just like it's just a weird coincidence.
It would be S''T-E-V. Steve.
And then like the human captain would be like, hey, it's Steve? Yes, my name is Steve. Steve. Is that short for anything? No, just Steve. Okay.
I love it.
That'd be great.
Oh my goodness.
My brother's name is Steve. I just said that, just because.
Is he a Vulcan?
No, because he is not logical at all.
All right. So yeah, the main tension in this episode, of course, comes from Mistral, who's curious about humanity and has kind of this optimism for where humanity's going in the future. And that's kind of at odds with Tamir and Strawn. Strawn. Thank you.
Steve.
Steve.
Steve. Let's call him Steve. His name is no Steve.
Who they, of course, are much more pessimistic about humanity and just want to lay low and not draw attention to themselves and that sort of thing. And, Mistral experiments with, going out and experiencing Earth culture and hanging out with Earth people. One person in particular who's kind of the main family that we're following in this is this woman who's played by Brandi, if you want to bring that up, because
yes, Anne Cusack. Yes, of those Cusacks, John and Joan and Anne.
Very cool. Which I didn't realize. I didn't make that connection, so that's really
that's why
cool.
you have me.
Absolutely. So yeah, there's obviously an attraction there between Mistral and this human woman. Not necessarily reciprocated, but there's an interest and curiosity there, which I thought was kind of cute, like how they played that, and it felt very real to me. As like weird as Mistral as a human is, it's, I don't know, there's something there. I like that little spark they had.
Yeah. I liked it too. But he wouldn't have known what to do with her. He wouldn't have had a clue. Wouldn't have had a clue.
Yeah.
And I think she kind of senses that after the awkward kiss. So, which is adorable. But
it was pleasant.
It was very pleasant.
It's been a long time since I've kissed a guy, but I certainly thought it would be more than pleasant.
I did say very pleasant. You guys, I really like him as an actor. I really, he's great in this role.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
he's he manages to be so optimistic and without guile, and that's not something we see very often in Vulcans. And so it's refreshing. And he keeps he reminds Strawn and Tamir at least once that we used to be just like them. How can you not see their potential? Which is a very fair point.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like his journey in this, and like how he is just so open to these experiences and wanting to learn more, and ultimately decides, like we said, to stay behind. But I also really like Tamir's journey in this one too, because she has an arc, which is really cool to see. Because initially, like we said, she's very closed off. Don't draw attention. Don't engage with these people. They're going to have a nuclear war in a few years. It's inevitable. Don't invest in this. Don't, whatever. But her interactions with Maggie, with a woman we were talking about, and her son, Jack, is really interesting. Now, Jack, I can't remember where I read this exactly, if it was just behind the scenes and or not meant to be implied or whatever, but apparently he was supposed to be Jackson Roykirk, the creator of the Nomad probe that in The Changeling. Yeah. So I don't know if they were like calling them out as the Roykirks at one point in the script, and then that just didn't get in there or something. But I remembered hearing that at some point.
Interesting.
Just kind of cool.
I didn't know that. He was played by Hank Harris, who is known for commercials such as McDonald's, Burger King, Dr. Pepper, and T-Mobile.
Very cool.
I just looked that up as we were talking through this. Yeah, and I mean, this is just a little side thing. Personally, my parents are from Pennsylvania, and I was thinking, they grew up there in the early 50s, and so when I saw Jack, I was like, that could be my dad. Maybe Jack is my dad, but
could be.
I guess not. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Mo's my dad.
Wishful thinking.
Wait, Steve is my dad. That's why they named my brother Steve. Oh my gosh.
So Jack, he's a bright young boy, right? Like he's kind of he's kind of the archetype of that character who's, if you've seen movies like October Sky or, that kind of story, stuck in a small mining town, probably going to end up going to the mines when he's old enough, kind of thing, but has the potential to do other things, to, if he had the money to go to university to further his education and that sort of thing. I wanted to know
if he was going to Penn State. That's what I wanted to know, but anyway.
Okay.
Well, because that's where I went to school. I went to Penn State. So I was hoping when he says, I'm going to university, I was like, please say he's going to Penn State. Please say he's going to Penn State. And they didn't say.
They never confirm which school it is.
They never.
No, I don't think they mention it. No.
Because I wanted Penn State to be Star Trek canon.
Well, in your head canon, it can be Penn State.
That's true.
Because they never designate which school it is. So it could be. It could be.
Very well could be.
Just as much chance of any other school in Pennsylvania. So We'll just say
Absolutely.
it's Penn
And
State.
Zamboni, thank you. I was thinking the same thing. The forests were wrong for Pennsylvania. They weren't, those trees and
Absolutely
stuff
wrong.
weren't the right stuff.
Looked more like California, to be perfectly frank. Huh?
Yeah.
Weird.
Or was it Canada?
No, it was actually done in California. I looked it up a moment ago and I can't remember the town, but it was in California.
No.
Must have been Northern California then.
No.
Really?
Mm-mm. Like east of LA.
Yeah.
Like
What?
keep going. Yeah.
I've been east of LA. I don't remember any forests.
Just keep going.
Just keep
I don't know
going.
where I saw
until-
that.
Keep going until you're like in Virginia. Kidding. Kidding.
Oh, it was Crestline, California. Does that
Okay.
mean anything to anybody? Anybody online here from Crestline, California?
Crestline.
San
Crestline. Anyway.
Bernardino County.
Crestline.
Cool.
Just so you know. The more you know.
The more
Indeed.
you know.
So he's stuck in a small town. He doesn't have the money to go to university, and Tamir kind of slowly gets to know him over the course of this episode and recognizes something in him. And she goes from being this, there's nothing of value here kind of thing, to actually providing the money that he needs to go to university via some interesting means, which I'm sure we'll talk about. So yeah, I really like Tamir's journey in this. I think it's a really cool arc, and just something I wasn't expecting from her in this episode.
Yeah, because you feel like she doesn't really care. She's just there until we can get off of this planet attitude, and then wanting to help people because, she keeps acting like, why do you want to be involved with these people? We shouldn't even talk to them. We should just keep our distance. And now we get towards the end and she's wanting to help. So yeah, it's a nice little story arc for her.
Yeah. And Patrick, good point. Because I was thinking about that too. The scene where they're talking about meditation.
Yes.
I really like that because that's, where she's like, about meditation, this means something to you. Like, I love that kind of realization that, oh, maybe there's more to these people and this person in particular than I'd thought. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. I'm surprised they didn't talk about when they first got there that the humans smell funny or anything, because they talk about that earlier in Enterprise about her trying to adjust to the smell of humans. Well, you would expect that for these 3 Vulcans that have never been to Earth around humans go, what's that smell? Like when they're in the bar, somebody could have said, oh, it's just my breath. It's the beer or something.
I think the thing you have to remember too is it's T'Pol telling the story. So if she'd have brought that up, they probably would have been like, okay, we get it, T'Pol. We stink. Jeez. Drop it already.
Like we have to hear this all the time.
Yes, well, one Vulcan stink is another Vulcan's perfume. I don't know. It just didn't come out right.
Mistral's like, yeah, I want to stay on Earth. And have you noticed the way they smell?
Yes. Delightful.
Very pleasant.
Yeah. I did say very pleasant.
Very.
So yeah, let's talk a little bit about the way that Tamir gets the money to put in the donation jar for Jack. So, okay, sorry. Yep, go ahead.
I'm just going to say, this is the part that makes me cry. Every time. Every time. Made me cry last night when I watched it again. Yep.
Beautiful. I love that it's anonymous too. Like she's there sweeping up and, they have no idea who it was or anything like that. It's beautiful. I love that whole. Yeah, that's amazing. So yeah, she goes aboard the ship and basically I think in search of like what's something that they don't have that we could. And she finds a little Velcro pouch and hook and loop fastener pouch. Velcro is the brand name. So we have to put a little C or R or something after that. But anyway, she finds it and travels to a patent office to sell the patent to this material. Now, the cool thing is, if you look up the real life inventor of Velcro, George de Mestral, who's a Swiss inventor, thanks to Brandi's research for me. I thought he was French. I didn't bother looking it up, so thank you for that. So George de Mestral, and of course the Vulcan named Mistral in this episode. So like the kind of loose implication, the years don't match, but like ignoring that, the loose implication is that Tamir gave his name as the inventor, maybe invented a fake name or something like that, or
either that or they were just honoring the actual inventor of Velcro by naming one of the characters Mistral.
Yeah. That's probably actually like the out of universe reason. Right. Yeah. But yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. And we don't know if Velcro, because Geek Filter is mentioning here, it was actually invented earlier, but
like I said the years don't match.
Right. Years don't match, but that's fine. But there's no indication that what she handed over to that guy, he went on to become the inventor of Velcro. He could just paid for that and then found out later it's already out there.
That's kind of what goes through my head, is like knowing that it had been invented a decade earlier and just not widespread use. The guy's like, crap. How much did I pay for this patent that's worthless?
Exactly. Because she wouldn't have seen it in Carbon Creek. That's why she assumed they didn't have it, because she never saw it there.
Yeah. Regardless, it's a fun little scene that's kind of cool, and I hope nobody's relying on an episode of Enterprise for their history lessons as to when Velcro came around. But if you look it up, it's not that year.
It's called creative license. It's fine. And besides that, it's possible that something like that could have developed in two different places at two different times.
Yep.
And with the way communication was in the world at that time, they might not even have known Velcro was already around.
Exactly.
So
absolutely.
Exactly. But Velcro doesn't seem like a thing Vulcans would have to me. Like it just seems so, really? I don't know. I just
Why do you say that?
I just don't know. It just is never something I guess I've ever seen on Vulcan. Not that I've been there, but just when we watch Star Trek.
Just because you never saw something before doesn't mean they didn't have it.
It's just I would just never picture Vulcans sitting there going, it just seems weird.
Because they don't do that.
They would have very logical uses for it.
Yeah. It's just like it's funny.
They probably use it to hang pictures. I don't know. It's just, it's fine.
Vulcans hang pictures?
No, never mind.
I don't know.
They might have art. I'm sure there's Vulcan art.
There's definitely Vulcan art.
So they're hanging art pieces on the wall.
Yeah, they could use it for sneakers.
Yeah, and I mean Velcro is very, very useful for space travel. So like, it absolutely makes sense that a spacefaring race would have something like Velcro. That's something that. Sorry, something that's going to adhere. Okay, never mind.
No, I'm laughing at what you're saying because it just sounds funny to me when you're like, it makes sense if a spacefaring race, they'll have Velcro. And all of a sudden in my mind, I just pictured every alien we've ever seen in a spaceship just ripping Velcro. I just went through. I saw Ferengi, I saw Cardassians, I saw them all just ripping Velcro in their ships.
Well, those pockets in Next Generation when they had to put a phaser on their uniform, those were Velcro.
Yeah. Absolutely. The phasers in TOS were held on by Velcro, and so were the communicators. So
so
it makes sense to have something that's going to adhere but not permanently, right? Like it just,
Yeah. So it makes absolute sense. So there you go, Dan. It does make sense that a spacefaring race would have Velcro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even V'ger.
So the end of the episode
and the Borg. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying in the Borg.
Okay, sorry. I have no idea what I was saying.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. So the end of the episode then wow, I'm totally at a loss. So she's telling the story, and I guess she kind of leaves it up in the air as to whether it was real or not when she's telling Archer and Trip, right? Because they're kind of incredulous as to the story. And
she neither confirms nor denies.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of comes up with an interesting little half excuse reason why she might have gone to Carbon Creek, if not for this family history, and kind of says, I'm a scientist. I study geology. I also went to all these other places as well. So
Carlsbad Caverns. And
yeah.
I
So-
don't remember the other places she mentioned.
Yeah, I
I just
can't remember either.
Carlsbad Caverns. I'm like, you went to Carlsbad Caverns? Cool.
So did you guys, like, if you can cast your mind back to watching this episode for the first time before like that little handbag reveal at the end, did you believe that, like, oh, this was all just a made up story? And like, because she's pretty convincing when she's like, you told me to tell you a story.
Yeah, I love how she just, and and she repeats that when they're trying to be like, yeah, but was it real? As I said, you asked me to tell you a story. And I think if a Vulcan could be laughing inside, she absolutely was, because she was messing with them so much. Not because the story was not true, but because she was enjoying making them squirm. Oh, but enjoyment, that's an emotion. Well, her mother did always say that she was very emotional. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Vulcans are emotional. They also don't lie.
Yeah. And when Tamir says, why did you lie? It's like, yeah, we know Vulcans lie. Yeah. They see him do it all the time, you guys.
All the time.
No.
They do.
Yeah.
So I do wonder if anybody did look up, like anybody like Archer or Trip look up Mistral in the Vulcan archives, like T'Pol mentioned, and you know, if they found out anything about this being real. Or
I'm gonna go with probably not.
They probably didn't know how to spell his name.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so is it M-A-S-M-I-S-M-E-S? They probably went through many iterations and had no idea and just gave up.
I kind of always have it in my mind that, like, years and years later, like, Archer is just browsing the Vulcan version of Wikipedia and is just like, son of a.
Yeah. I would love that. And then he goes marching off to find T'Pol. You pulled one over on me twice. Made me believe it wasn't real, and now I find out it's real.
Yeah, I'd love to see that scene.
That would be great. They could do it. Let's do it now. Let's do it now. Scott Bakula will be up for it, I'm sure. Jolene, where are you?
Absolutely.
That'd be amazing. There's your short trek, and that introduces the Adventures of Mistral, which then later becomes its own series.
That'd be great.
It's got it all mapped out, you guys.
I'd love to see them announce that series and people just be like, what?
What? Who's
Yeah.
what? Why should I care about this guy here?
Yeah, where are the spaceships?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, anything that we haven't touched on that either of you would like to bring up?
I have a little list, but Brandi,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, I want to hear your list because it's quite possible that there are other things that you have on your list that I would have brought up anyway. So go ahead.
Well, there really isn't much left on the list because we've covered everything pretty much, except one thing I never thought of until this time I watched the episode, but the bridge or whatever that they were on the Vulcan ship was very small and cramped. And I like that because I thought, well, that kind of reminds me of the Romulan ship that we see in Balance of Terror being fairly small, and they're all kind of cramped in there. And I thought, did they do it for that or just to make it look like, you know, this is an older Vulcan ship, so it was smaller than it would be in the future or something? But I kind of liked it because it made me think of Balance of Terror, the Romulan ships.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bruce. Go ahead, Dan. Bruce.
Sorry. No, I was just going to say,
The one that says Vulcan on the screen. Oh, both of them.
Yeah, no, sorry, Dan. It's been a long week for me, and
No,
I
it's all good.
apologize.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
But I was just going to say, it's a 3-person crew too, so it's pretty small scout ship. I think they said 4, right?
Yeah.
The captain did die. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You were actually going to say the exact same thing that I did.
Oh,
that I was going to. Oh my! Look, I've been up for a long time, and Dave went back to work this week, and so I'm now back to getting up at 4:30 in the morning to take him to work, and I am having trouble acclimating to that. So I'm gonna say the wrong thing sometimes.
It's kind of a mixed. It's both a blessing and a curse that we do this on Fridays, I find.
Oh no, it's fantastic that we do it on Fridays, because otherwise I'd be thinking, okay, I have exactly this much more time before I have to go to bed. So
Yeah.
no, I don't have to worry about that tonight. So
Yeah. And because of Fridays, I could either have wine or chocolate, whatever I feel like doing
Yeah.
at the end of the show. Then I like the line when not T'Pol, but what's her name?
Tamir,
When Tamir says about the TV being an idiotic device.
the idiot box.
The idiot
Mhm.
box. Yeah. So I
Mhm.
like that part.
Yes.
So, and then the last thing I have, and it's nothing big, but they mentioned going to watch a baseball game in Doylestown, and Doylestown actually is a real town in Pennsylvania, unlike Carbon Creek, which isn't. But Doylestown really isn't close to mining country in Pennsylvania. It's closer to Philadelphia, but still, it is a real town. Those are the only notes I had left.
Nice.
The other thing that just kind of popped into my head was he doesn't necessarily have a big character arc, but Strawn has some just interesting little bits throughout where he keeps getting called to this one woman's house to fix the plumbing. And it's kind of implied that she just wants to see him. I think there's some really cute stuff there. Like I think we mentioned at the beginning, the kid calls him a stooge, calls him Mo, because he looks like Mo from the Three Stooges.
Well, okay, so apparently I am going to have some things that Bruce didn't have on his list.
Yay.
Excellent.
In this one episode, there are some nice nods to TOS stuff, like City on the Edge of Forever, Spock in the hats, same thing. A Vulcan sweeping the floor. Spock did that too. Spock and Kirk getting menial jobs to get by. So many nods to that episode in particular.
And getting the clothes.
Yeah, getting the clothes. Yeah, I want to see Kirk or Spock behind a sheet with a big light showing their profile. Why didn't we get to see that? Why didn't we get to see some peen? So I shouldn't have done that while you were drinking, Dan. I'm sorry.
It was close.
I think William Shatner did ask for that, but
he probably would. Yeah, but and the whole Velcro thing, transparent aluminum. There's a parallel there. There's a lot of little parallels and nods to TOS in that, and also to Lucille Ball and other things. But Strawn working on an electronic device at the kitchen table. Yeah, we see that in City of the Edge, on the Edge of Forever as well. And it was nice. It wasn't in your face. It was a nice nod to people who are fans of TOS without alienating people who have never seen TOS. So I think it was really well done. Really well done fan service.
Yeah, very subtle. Very subtle.
Yeah. Exactly.
The other thing with Strawn too that I liked is, like I said, he doesn't really have an arc and kind of just acts annoyed the whole time. But at the very end, before they're getting ready to go, he's doing like one last repair job for her, which, let's be honest, he does not have to do, right? Like they're going to be gone. So I love that. He's still in his Vulcan way showing gratitude for how they've been welcomed while they were there and taken care of. And in my mind anyway, I don't know if all of that motivation is there, but I just, I like that he's doing one last repair job and like huffing and being annoyed about it. But like, you didn't have to do that, right?
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, they all had their moments like that, and Tamir's came when the collapse happened in the mining shaft, and
Mhm.
Mr. was like, "They're my friends. I'm going to get them." And the next thing you see is Mr. helping him get to these miners without, being seen having a phaser, basically. And
Yeah.
she didn't have to do that either.
Absolutely.
And she
Yeah.
did. So,
Mhm. Yeah, we didn't really talk about that whole mining accident bit, which I thought was a really nice, again, a kind of tropey, kind of, stereotypical,
yeah,
but very
but
realistic.
yeah, happened a lot back then because
Mhm.
safety wasn't as big a concern as it should have been.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
they were laborers. Who cared about laborers? All the big corps cared about was just getting that coal.
Mhm.
So I'm sure they didn't get paid enough.
No.
Yeah.
And of course, we should bring up the little bit of social message in this episode, because Star Trek does that in just about every episode, right?
Yep.
Where Mistral's talking about, think of how we've been made to feel welcome here. And the response is, only because they think we're like them. If they knew the truth, would they be so welcoming? So there's that little bit of Star Trek social messaging there too, that hopefully makes the viewer stop and think about things and what the allegory is, what the message there is. So, it's woven throughout Star Trek in all its 50 plus years. It's been here with us. So yeah.
Which is a good thing to remember, because unfortunately that's a very true thing, and unfortunately it's still true today. Shouldn't be.
Yeah, it's
Yep. I think it will be for a long time.
absolutely.
Unfortunately.
Until World War III happens and most of humanity is destroyed, and Zefram Cochrane builds a warp-capable ship and launches it, and the Vulcans go, "Oh, wow, they finally got there. Let's swing on by."
Well, it depends what universe, because if we shoot those Vulcans when they land, we become the
You
near
kn-
universe.
I do not want this to remain the darkest timeline. I'm going to have hope that we get out of this.
Yeah, and I mean, touching briefly on, of course, the events happening in the world and stuff. I love that, we can get together and talk about a Star Trek episode and kind of have a little bit of happiness in the midst of this, and also recognize, of course, that it's our privilege to be able to have a little bit of happiness in this. And there are people out there that don't have that privilege. So, yeah, that's all I have to say on that at the moment. So I don't know what else to say there.
Agree.
Yeah. Yes, we can see your chats. Sorry. I see you commenting. You just came in, explanatory live. We can see your chats. Absolutely. Yep.
Yes, I've seen everything you've said.
We're talking about Star Trek. We're talking about Enterprise, the series Enterprise. We're talking about season 2, episode 2, Carbon Creek.
Yes.
Yeah. Which we are pretty much just about wrapped up on, I think. So,
yeah.
Anything else that anyone in the chat wants to bring up? Now's your chance.
And it can be anything Star Trek.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this episode. So, we'll take it. We'll take it.
Sorry, I'm reading some of the comments. And
I know. I'm just like, wait, what?
Wait,
I missed something.
What is your husband saying there, Brandi?
I don't know the context for that. I don't know. Dave, what is the context for that comment? And you know which one I'm talking about.
I think it had something to do with us saying we can see the chats, and somebody said they can see everything or something.
Oh, okay. I got it.
And Patrick, I loved when he's like trying to fix the pipe, and he's like, and then uses the little laser welder thing, whatever. It's
not a sonic screwdriver, because a sonic screwdriver doesn't really have a beam because it's sonic. So it's actually like a little laser, like Dan said, but it
I do
really looks
appreciate-
like a sonic screwdriver.
Yeah, I do appreciate the Doctor Who reference there, though.
Yes, yes. I did get that because I thought, wow, that's almost like a sonic screwdriver.
Something like that.
Oh, you guys.
See, that would have a beam because it's not sonic, it's sconic, which has a beam. So
Right. A sonic screwdriver. So there.
Yep, exactly.
Doctor Who stole that when they started in 1963. So sorry.
So we're
all good.
getting some good questions in here. So I'd like to talk about what Chris Littlefield just asked about T'Pol.
This one here?
Yeah. Did anyone ever think that when this first aired, if it was actually T'Pol and not her great grandma? And I do remember at that time wondering that myself, because I think at that point I wasn't sure exactly how old T'Pol was, but I didn't think necessarily by the time of Enterprise she was 200 years old. I would think she'd look a lot older. But I do remember thinking at the time, was it her that was really there and she's just saying it was her great grandmother and it could have been her? I didn't think it was, but I wondered that. The thought crossed my mind is what I'm saying. I don't think it is her, but it did make me think that.
Yeah.
I didn't think that.
Yeah, I didn't either. The age thing, of course, because I think Sarek in the Next Generation was 200
right
years old, 202, I think they give his age as, and of course, Vulcan years, human years, who knows whatever. But yeah, I didn't think that was T'Pol. But interesting question. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
What other questions do we have?
Question about Discovery that I think got answered pretty well in the comments by other people, though, too.
All right.
What was it? About it being dark or something?
There it is.
Yeah. I don't think of it as being a dark future, but I do feel like the show comes across maybe a little darker than older Trek series in its style, maybe, but I never thought of it as being a darker series.
Yeah, because I mean, season 1, they're in the middle of the Klingon War, which, you know, is necessarily dark. Deep Space Nine was just as dark during the Dominion War, I think. Season 2, I felt quite the opposite. I felt it was very bright and you know, Utopia Star Trek, I think.
Yeah.
I guess the Section 31 stuff got a little dark, but that happened
dark
in other series as well, too.
And when they returned from the Mirror Universe, because of the war, it felt dark. Like Starfleet was just going to, you know, destroy Kronos or do whatever. And it seemed anti-Starfleet and stuff. And of course, there was a whole speech on that anyway. So,
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I didn't find it particularly darker than other Star Treks, but your mileage may vary. Other people may have different opinions on that.
But I do consider it Star Trek because I saw it in the title.
Yeah.
Yes.
Same.
I did notice that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's produced by the people who own the rights to it. So. Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so do we want to move on to our picks for next week?
Yes, let's do that.
Okay.
and I am now convinced that Explanatory Live is a bot, so stop responding.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Good advice. Okay. So I haven't decided how I'm going to have people pick something for me. So I'm going to throw it open to Bruce and or Brandi. You guys go first.
Go, Bruce. Go, Bruce.
Man,
or
I'm trying to think of something clever. Go ahead, Brandi, then.
Okay. The first person to guess what I am drinking, which I will narrow it down, it is a soda pop. So the first person that guesses the specific kind of soda pop, then they get to choose a thing.
Like the brand or flavor or
both.
Okay.
There's more than a couple words in the title, so you got your work cut out for you, kids.
All right. So we got a few guesses already here. So we got Pepsi Max, Dr. Pepper, Jones Soda.
Some people are close but not precise.
Okay, Sierra Mist, Diet Dr. Pepper, RC Cola,
Nope, and still not the precise one yet.
Diet Cream Soda Dr. Pepper.
Oh, you know what? I have not tried the cream soda Dr. Pepper yet because no one carries it in my area.
Pamplemousse LaCroix.
No. But that sounds great.
These all sound good.
Oh, it jumped here. Dad's Root
Oh.
Beer.
Someone is super close, but not quite there. Like super close.
So Coke Zero, Orange Crush, Cream Soda Dr. Pepper, Cherry
think I-
Vanilla Dr. Pepper, Jones
I know.
Turkey and Gravy. Is that a thing?
What?
I have heard that, I think, somewhere.
Wow. I used to like Jones Soda. I've never heard of that. That's cool. Cherry Coke, caffeine-free diet Dr. Pepper.
Again, close. There's some people who are so close, but not. There we go. Suzanne got it.
Where are we?
Diet cherry vanilla.
Oh, that's
Dr.
good.
Pepper.
Yes, I love those.
All right. So Suzanne, he said, dreading. But
Let me guess. Sub Rosa.
So Suzanne, you
Oh,
get
wow.
first pick of which episode is going to go on the poll for next week. And Bruce, did you want to go next?
Yeah, I just want to say to Automated Joy, Jolt Cola, I used to drink way back in my younger days, and I haven't had it in forever. I never see it anymore, and I want to drink it again. So as a kid, I bought a novel that I never read, and now I'm finally reading it all these 40 some years later, whatever it is. And it's based on a superhero. So guess who the superhero is? Then you win.
Ooh,
I know who it is. Because I know what you've been reading, man. I see all those tweets for about your Goodreads updates.
There you go. That's how you'll know.
I know.
Green Arrow.
But I don't get
no.
to play. I
No,
don't
you
get to
don't.
play.
So you got a Green Arrow guess. Sorry,
Nope.
I'm only putting up the winner. I didn't mean to put up just the
I like you put them all up. Captain
Okay.
Marvel.
Captain
Nope.
Marvel.
Nope.
Which one?
Either of them. Yeah, it's still not.
No, there's three.
There's
There's three
think
because there's
yeah,
Shazam, which was
Right.
originally Captain Marvel.
the
There's
original one.
Captain Marvel, and then there's
Yes.
Captain Marvel.
That's right.
So
It's got Black Panther and Superman.
Hey, Oz Trekkie.
yep, I knew it.
Dun, 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 dun,
I could have
dun.
guessed.
I
I
was
actually-
a huge
I
Superman
knew.
fan as a kid. Still like Superman, but I was a huge Superman fan.
All right. So
Oh.
Oz Trekkie, you get pick number 2. And I'm just
Did Suzanne pick? Did we see
I'm
Suzanne
going
pick?
back through. She's eliminated Sub Rosa.
Oh, really?
She always wimps out on that. She did that one other time, I think.
Okay,
says
this
she
is what
wants
we're
it,
gonna
but she
do.
wimps out.
Somebody pick Sub Rosa, and then everybody vote for it for next week, so Suzanne won't be there. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding, Suzanne. I am
Oh.
so kidding. I would not do that.
But then we have to do Sub Rosa. So how is that? What are you
Exactly.
doing?
It's still punishment no matter what. But it's punishment for her too. Because she doesn't get to see it live.
Yeah, what is
Oh.
TTJ? What
To
is
the
that?
journey, to the journey, to the journey. It is the Star Trek Voyager podcast on Trek FM, of which Suzanne is one of the hosts. Oh my goodness. There you go.
Oh, Oz Trekkie cheated. But that's fine.
What? We're
Cheating's
he-
allowed.
My Goodreads. He looked at my Goodreads.
I shouldn't have said anything. It's my
Clever.
fault. It's my fault. I said something about your Goodreads tweets.
I think he probably follows me anyway on Goodreads, though.
Okay, so we're still waiting for Suzanne's pick and Oz Trekkie's pick. I'm going to say I have a favorite starship. If you can tell me what the registry number of that starship is,
Oh,
you get the pick.
I think I know.
Okay, and we've got Suzanne picks Year of Hell. Ooh,
which part?
Ooh.
That's both parts. We're doing both.
No, you have to pick one. I'm kidding.
All right. So looking for registry numbers. Okay, so we've got 1701D. Nope. 74656. That's Voyager. Nope. 2020, 1031, 1701, 1701D. Nope. So just a reminder to people guessing ship names, you need the registry number.
Yep.
I'm making it challenging.
Just waiting to see.
Okay, so more guesses. NCC 1864, that's the Reliant. Nope. NX 2000, the Excelsior. Nope. Enterprise E. Nope. NX 01. Nope. Oh, and we have Pastor Andy. NX 74205 USS Defiant. And just so there's no shenanigans, it's written on there, I promise.
Oh, yeah, we can see it now.
All right. So, Pastor Andy, you get third pick for the episode. And then, of course, our random one as well.
Cool.
So, Brandi, did you want to take the lead on that one again?
Sure. Okay, so a number between 1 and what? Now I always forget.
9.
No, yeah.
1 and 9? Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Hey,
Pastor
Siri.
Andy picks relics.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Hey, Siri, give me a random number between 1 and 9.
A random number between 1 and 9 is 5.
That's Voyager.
Okay.
All right, so we've got a Voyager episode.
So 7 seasons. Hey, Siri, give me a random number between 1 and 7.
Just a moment. A random number between 1 and 7 is 1.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
How
so
many
season
episodes in
1 was a short season.
Short for that time period
Yeah.
in television.
Wasn't it 13? Or
So I'm showing 16 episodes. Oh, it's counting Caretaker as 2 though, so 15 episodes.
15.
15 episodes. Okay. Hey, Siri, give me a number between 1 and 15.
A random number between 1 and 15 is 11.
11.
Which one? Which one?
Okay. So Heroes and Demons. Interesting. So that's the one where the Doctor goes on the holodeck and in Harry Kim's Beowulf holoprogram to rescue Harry Kim and Chakotay, maybe? I don't know. There's a couple people trapped in there. So
Cool.
yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Not the worst episode from season 1. I'm not a big early Voyager fan, but that one was interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you know what makes a rewatch of season 1 even better? Listening to the Delta Flyers podcast.
Yes, absolutely. I just listened to the episode on the cloud. So good. So
Yep.
good.
So good.
Absolutely.
It is it's the most entertaining people who were on the show podcast that I've heard. And
Absolutely.
it's inspired me to, I just said when I heard they were going to do this, I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch Voyager with them. I am. And I have been. And it's
Nice.
great. I'm really enjoying them and I'm really enjoying just going through it with them. So thumbs up.
Yeah, I just watched Caretaker. I think it was last week. And I didn't even think to listen to the podcast. But now I'm going to start and I'm going to catch up to you, Brandi.
All right.
Nice. So jumping back in the comments here, Oztrekkie, Shuttle Pod 1, is that was your pick for episode? I did notice it, but I was otherwise occupied.
That's Enterprise.
Yeah.
I don't like that episode.
Perfect.
Enterprise season 1, Shuttle Pod 1. I'm assuming that was your pick for episode and not a guess at a registry number. For
Please
a ship.
confirm. Please confirm.
But yeah, we'll await your confirmation. But it looks like
Yeah.
right now we're doing Year of Hell, Shuttle Pod 1 possibly, Relics, and Heroes and Demons. Interesting choices there.
I was checking
And-
correct. Said correct. Yes, confirmed.
Perfect. All right. So yeah, that's an interesting little melange. I think that should be fun.
Yeah, and I just love that Enterprise is still getting up in there. That just makes me so happy, you guys.
Mhm.
We must have your fan base watching.
I don't know.
Um,
I just appreciate it.
so because I need to always remember that people watching aren't necessarily like versed on every single episode of every single everything. So Year of Hell was the 2-parter with the Krenim in Voyager season 4, where it's the Year of Hell. It takes place over the course of an entire year, and Voyager keeps getting battered and half destroyed, and things are going badly. Shuttle Pod 1 was from the first season of Enterprise. Reed and Trip are aboard Shuttle Pod 1. They think the Enterprise has been destroyed and they're trying to survive. Relics was the season 6 TNG episode where Scotty is in the transporter beam and gets rescued on the surface of a Dyson sphere by the Enterprise crew. And Heroes and Demons, like we said, was the Beowulf Doctor on the Holodeck episode. So yeah.
Yeah. And Year of
Interesting
Hell, check it out, because this last episode that we had, episode 15, I think, of Positively Trek, the first part of that, we talk a little bit of some, Year of Hell was proposed to be a full season, right? Season 4 of Voyager, I think it was. Something like that.
Somewhere
Or
in there.
5 or something like that. But yeah. So check that out. We talk a little bit about that in the last episode.
And as Suzanne Williamson says, Year of Hell has scruffote. So
Scruffote.
following it up with a couple of those emojis. So
I think that maybe Suzanne likes Chakotay. Is that true?
How would we know that?
Am I
Yeah,
misreading that?
I don't know if there's any kind of like empirical evidence that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, interesting. I like this selection. So I don't even know if I have a favorite out of these yet. So very cool.
I don't either. I guess we'll just see.
I
may have to have Siri choose for me.
I know the one I've seen the most. And that would be
me too.
Relic.
Yeah, me too.
Because I remember when that came out and I had my VCR, I recorded it, and I watched that several times over and over again.
Yeah. Scotty, when I was younger, was one of my favorite TOS characters. So I was so thrilled when that episode came out. I remember loving it. So
I read the novelization.
Oh, wow.
I
think I have it, but I've never read it.
I think it was Michael Jan Freeman that wrote it, I think. I have to look
Could be. So check out my Twitter at Kertrats, KERTRATS. I will tweet out the poll with those 4 choices. Vote on which one you want us to talk about next week. And that's where you can find me on the internet as well.
Well, Brandi, now we know where to find Dan on the internet. So I guess we're
okay,
done.
Cool. Let's go. No, you go, Bruce. You go.
Oh,
go, Bruce.
I'm on the internet too. At this
Riveting,
very moment,
folks.
Riveting. Yeah, we're on podcast that Dan is on. I'm on to like literary tracks. Take a drink.
I pre-drank for that one.
And of course, Positively Trek and all that other stuff. Sometimes the Star Wars Report, sometimes live shows with Brandi on Trek FM, all that kind of stuff. But you can find me on Twitter at Admiral_Rex.
You can find me on Twitter at Brandywine12. Brandy's with an I. 12 is a number, not spelled out. And you'll find me on the Edge Main Show on the Trek FM network, doing Star Trek Discovery stuff with Liam and Nick from Australia. And we have a fantastic time. And I do a podcast with my husband, Dave, in the chat. Hi, baby. It's called the Dark Corner Podcast, and we talk about stuff and things. Basically, just a lot of pop culture and nerdy stuff. So much nerdy stuff, you guys. From a darker purpose and perspective. Ooh, I'm letting stuff
Freudian
slip.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
What are you planning?
Nothing.
Are we doing one of these again?
No, I'm absolutely not planning anything.
Okay.
And then I do a solo podcast called Headcanon, where I look at my brain, which is obviously crazy. And I talk about all of my fandoms and some of the weird ways they came about, and sometimes my weird dreams, and sometimes childhood trauma, and sometimes wrestling, because wrestling is a nerd thing, and just you never know what's going to come out of my brain. So you can find both that and Dark Corner Podcast at darkcornerpodcast.com.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Can I throw out a suggestion, just an idea that just popped in my mind, that maybe one day, I'm not saying next week or necessarily, but we do like a bonus live show, and it's on a totally different franchise of maybe it's a movie, maybe it's some popular episode of a series or something. It could be something that maybe we've seen and not seen, some of us, or whatever. I just think that might be interesting. I don't know.
That'd be fun.
It would be really interesting.
Absolutely.
So
I like it.
that's something
Let's
to keep
do
in
it.
mind. And the chat could give us ideas and stuff, because I don't know how we would even pick something. So, I mean, you can't, Siri, give me a number between 1 and 583.
We'd narrow it down by genre first. How about that?
Okay.
And then from that, narrow it down from TV and film.
Mm-hmm.
And then from that, narrow it down further. I don't know.
Maybe narrow it down by decade. Like,
So now somehow we're watching episode 25 of season 30 of Days of Our Lives. How did this happen?
No, we're talking about things that we like. Things that we like.
well, I don't know. It may be something I've never seen. I don't even know if I like it or not. Honestly.
Oh, no. I don't know how I feel about. No, I'm totally down for anything.
Lawrence Todd, you
sounds
said
cool.
Black Hole. I've been meaning to rewatch. I haven't seen it since it was out in the theater when I was a kid, and I didn't care for it that much. I haven't watched it since. It's on my watch list on Disney Plus right now, but I haven't watched it yet. And I have seen the Downton Abbey movie, but I haven't watched the series.
I was gonna say I'd be down for Downton Abbey. I love that show.
I'd have to have my wife on that one. She would really geek out on that. She knows. Bewitched. That'd be fun. Yeah, it could be anything.
Oh yes, Aaron said
Oops.
Gem
DJ
and the
Hooker.
Holograms. Yes. Love that show.
I've never watched it. I know what it is, but I've never watched it.
Oh,
I had dolls and everything. I've already had this conversation with Aaron. He knows.
TJ knows the way to my heart.
I've seen that.
Best movie ever. Sorry.
It would be hard to narrow this down.
Definitely.
I Love Lucy. I go for that. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I've
That
seen
would be
all
cool.
those multiple times.
Yeah. Ooh, Dave's even saying albums.
Oh my
Does it
God.
have to be television?
I guess not. I mean, it could be albums.
I would probably not have a lot to say, sadly, in the show, but could be fun.
It would be interesting for sure. Yes.
The short-lived I Love Brucey series. Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, the pilot
Playing-
that was never picked up.
Just playing one night only.
Maybe we can do that. We'll make our own show.
That'd be cool.
Yep. I like it.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. I had a lot of fun as usual, and we'll see you in a week. Take care.